Welcome to History Nuts. I'm Russ Carson Jr., the founder of Family Tree Nuts. At Family Tree Nuts, we build family trees for people, and we produce videos at historic locations and videos that help to honor your ancestors.
I'm Jameson Cable, founder of the Kentucky History Podcast, where we talk about anything Kentucky history, events, people. If it has to do with Kentucky, we're going to discuss it.
And we've teamed up together to bring you History Nuts.
History Nuts is a live show where we talk about, you guessed it, history.
Right. History seems to be less and less to people today, but we are trying to do everything we can to keep it alive.
Absolutely. History is a passion of ours for sure, but it connects to you. Russ, tell us about the best part of the show.
You can join in. You can comment and ask questions live.
We've got a great topic today, and we know you're going to enjoy this episode of
History Nuts.
And we're live. We're up there, buddy. What's going on, Jameson?
Oh, not much, man. How's it going?
I'm excited to be here. You know, we've missed every other week here this summer. It's been a crazy summer, but we're going to be back on track, aren't we?
Yes, and we already got some comments rolling. This is going to be completely nuts.
Yeah, from the Peanut Gallery. And I'm a nut cracker, Carl said. So, yeah, the nut jokes are coming in already, aren't they? So.
But it has been a wild weekend, wild summer. But I tell you, it's been hard every day this week.
Oh my God! Oh yeah. I feel bad for you having to do that, like the real people out there in the world. But we've been everywhere, man. We've been in Texas and Louisiana, Arkansas. We've been in West Virginia, Maryland. Been all Ohio. I've been everywhere in the last 15 days or so. But we're back on track and rocking.
We need to play us a little Johnny Cash in the background. I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah, buddy. Absolutely. Yeah. Alex says, "Hey, hi from Independence."
Yeah,
Is that Independence, Kentucky, or?
I'm assuming Independence, Kentucky. That's the place to be.
Yeah, man. Vicky says, "Hey, make sure you chime in. Let us know where you're watching from, and some comments too. This is a cool show tonight about Transylvania University, but it's something that." Who the heck cares, right, about Transylvania University, right? What the heck is this? That's a tough way to. Man, what a place! What a historical location it is that touches so many historical people and time periods and such.
I would like to suggest that we edit out the first introduction and play that second introduction a little bit better, because yes. It has a lot of historical value to Kentucky. But,
right. It's a little different because we normally do, like a battle or a person or something like that. But I know that people all over the country, Transylvania University, what in the heck is that?
Yeah.
But,
man, it was the place to be.
It was. And I've got a kid, I coach track, and our head coach's son, Matt Markham, is actually – he's going to Transylvania University to be on the track team there. Wanted to do a shout out to Matt because, man, when he was looking at some colleges and such, I'm like, man, if you can graduate from Transy, man, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
Things. Because of all the history, I would love for my kid to go to Transylvania universities.
And we'll chime in. Let us know where you listening to. Give some comments, and let us know what you know about Transylvania University as well, because we definitely aren't the experts per se, and there's plenty of things to talk about. Anything to do with the Transylvania Company?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, most definitely. We get into that. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channels, both Kentucky History Podcast and Family Tree Nuts, so you don't miss any of these shows that we do.
I will post the link to the channel. I usually on top of that, but this time, but I will.
Sounds good. So I guess we're ready to rock. UK needs some track team members.
UK. You guys are pretty solid, ain't they?
Yeah, but
Then they have
anyway,
some Olympians, but anyway, we won't get too much on.
Transylvania University. Yeah, man, you've got the lead. Let's talk about it. Where is it, first of all?
Well, it is smack dab in the middle of Lexington. Now, it is now. That's where you find it now. Very prominent, well-received school. A lot of, I don't know how many people have. Let us know if you went to Transy. That's what we need to comment first. If you went to Transylvania University, let us know, and then we'll say we'll be super nice.
Carl says Hell for Certain, Leslie County.
Oh, cool.
That's a real place. Have you heard of Hell for Certain?
I have. Yeah.
I have some in-laws that are from Hell. It's literally a town, guys. Look it up. Yeah. Hell for Certain, Kentucky, up in Leslie County. It's some rough bunch up there.
Yeah.
I think that's weren't your people from up there? We were talking about when we were doing Barberville.
Barberville, Knox. Yeah. I got some people from Knoxville. No, Barberville. Sorry, Knox County.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Knoxville. No, not Knoxville. But anyway, so yeah, Transylvania, and probably should have looked up some like current stats on it, but didn't really do that.
I know a little bit about it.
Well, you can add to those. But, right in the middle of Lexington, you got University of Kentucky. Transylvania would definitely be the, kind of second college that's there now. Most people could probably go to. Is it considered a liberal arts school now? Yeah. They've
got about just under 1,000 students. It's a small college. It's a very it's known for the smart kids. That's kind of. And didn't you go to Transy? That's where all the smart kids went. Yeah.
No.
You have to have like a 40 on your ACT to go to Transy today, but yes, I think it's about 40 acres. Division III school. So if you know anything about sports, Division III means smart kids. So.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get started. You ready to get started?
Yep. Yeah, I hear some feedback in there.
Oh, that's good. We got a little bit of feedback.
You hear that too, huh?
In 1780, this goes way back. And before it was even 1780 would be right when it became the county. But the Virginia Assembly granted 8,000 acres to create a public school or seminar to foster learning of Kentucky, which if you think about it in 1780, there ain't a lot of people in Kentucky at the time. Not a lot. And then...
All right, feedback's gone. Sounds like we're picking up a party. 1780. 1780. The first school west of the Alleghenies, and I wanted to bring this up real fast too. Because why are people want to learn about Transy? But man, the amount of famous people, 2 vice presidents, 50 senators, Supreme Court justices, I think 102, 120 some U.S. representatives, on and on and on, which we'll talk about as we go here. But this is a massively important place. So.
Yep. So said they allotted 8,000 acres at first, but then actually upped it up to 12,000, and they decided to name it the Transylvania Seminar. And that does come directly from the Transylvania Company.
You say Transylvania Seminar. Mm-hmm. You mean seminary?
Seminary.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. What's a seminary?
I guess it's a religious affiliation, I guess.
Yeah, training for ministers and stuff.
Ministers, yeah.
And why Transylvania? Why did they pick that name, Transylvania? What has it got to do with Dracula?
We just had some really good Dracula fans on the General Assembly back in Virginia, and no, Transylvania Company, Henderson and Boone, the almost Transylvania Colony, almost Transylvania State, but never came to fruition. And we got a video about that. You can go back and watch on the YouTube channel as well, just about the settling of the old colony. But yeah, however, in 1780, something else was kind of going on. That was kind of big.
What a mess. That's what's amazing. Have you ever seen a bottle of Tabasco? I think it's founded in 1862. 1862, somebody looked, or not Tabasco, but A1 sauce. They said, right in the middle of the Civil War, we need a good steak sauce, kind of thing. It's weird timing for that. Right in the middle of the Revolutionary War, right in the middle of the war. I don't know. You never heard that one, huh? So,
No.
But right in the middle of the Revolutionary War, they found a university out on the frontier, out in the movies. That's amazing. It kind of goes to show how many people poured into Kentucky. They had a need for a university just a few years after people started coming in there. Ancestor Stalker said long before Dracula was written, 1897. Yeah, different Transylvania. Totally different.
Yes, yeah. So with the Revolutionary War going on, that kind of made things a little bit hard to, get what they wanted going. But what they did get started was kind of a grammar school, really close to Danville, and it was ran by Reverend David Rice, and it was actually in his cabin. So that is where it started.
Isn't that wild? Right there. That's neat too, because Danville's known as the city of first. Don't tell the folks in Harrodsburg, because they get pretty hot about that big rivalry. But Danville, that's where we became a state. That's where they wrote the Constitution. Why not put that there? It's an interesting, because Danville today is what do you say, about 20,000 people, 30 maybe?
Yeah, I would say Boyle County as a whole was probably about 30, 35. Danville, would be probably that'd be about 20,000. I don't know. Census, we probably need to check this. But
an important place, nonetheless.
Very important. Yeah. So Carl did say Transylvania means across from the woods.
Across the woods. Transylvania meaning the woods and such. So it's old Latin for that. Same as Pennsylvania. William Penn's woods, kind of thing. But pretty cool.
Yeah. So next comes up, classes started in February of 1785, but they only lasted a year there in Danville, and then they upped and said, "Let's go to Lexington." So really wasn't in Danville for too long, and not much, I guess, kind of getting, as far as that goes.
Well, when I study stuff like that, it's interesting to think about. That's the evolution of the settlements here in Central Kentucky, well, in Kentucky in general, kind of thing. It started there hardcore down there, Harrodsburg, Stanford, Logan's Fort there, Danville's right there in the middle of the two there. But Lexington grew expeditiously because of the other settlements, McConnell's station, then McClellan's station, and Bryan's station that grew in prominence to make Lexington more of a centralized location. And it's neat to see how the university merged to Lexington just like everything else did.
Yep. So in 1793, some citizens built a brick house, and they purchased a lot, and they offered both to the Board of Trustees of Transylvania, and this would be their first permanent settlement in Lexington. So
they offered free room and board, didn't they?
Yeah. So sign us up, the trustees said. I mean, who's going to deny that?
Give them free room and board, and that's what if you follow history in any place, anywhere, whoever is giving them free stuff is where they bring it. If by having a university there would make the community grow. If I've seen, matter of fact, I was in West Virginia in a couple of counties in the last couple of weeks, last week actually, and there's the power of having the county seat, the power of having the center of government right there was huge. I was in Tucker County, West Virginia, and some people from Parsons came in and basically took all the records in St. George and said, we're making this the county seat. I'm getting on a tangent here. I'm sorry. But what I'm saying is that is how communities grow, is somebody giving out free stuff to attract other people to come.
Yeah. And you mentioned too, like Fort Logan became the county seat, and he offered up, he said, "Hey, I'll get you a tavern. I'll build a prison, and we'll have a courthouse, and you can move the county seat here, and that's what happened. But
tavern,
anyway.
jail, and a courthouse. Those are the three things you can have, right?
So it's actually one of the oldest colleges. Carl said that is very true. One of the oldest colleges. In 1799, Transylvania combined with the Kentucky Academy to form officially the Transylvania University, or Transylvania, I guess I should say. They brought in a law and medical department that was added, and it was it was the first of its kind, obviously west of the Alleghenies. The first president, James Moore, was the first president of the university. So think about the progress here. We start from this school, one-room school cabin in Danville, and it moves to Lexington, then it joins, and then it becomes a university in a matter of about 15 years. So pretty quick turnaround, I guess, if you're looking at a grand scheme of things. The university had, I guess, what you'd call common classes. I assume that is, your arithmetic, reading, those sorts of things. Some of the teachers were Dr. Samuel Brown and also Henry Clay.
Can you imagine having classes from Henry Clay?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, my opinion, probably the greatest politician, ever. But I mean, just think about that. He's teaching your class. He's teaching your law class, or I guess law is probably all he taught. But that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, for those, I mean, that would be like, I don't even know who. I'm trying to stay away from modern politics to give you a great example, but I don't know. It'd be like.
I mean, just think if Mitch McConnell was teaching your law class, or that would be crazy.
Right, he's too busy being a senator for 32 years, but he's getting anyway. But, yeah, right. I mean, it'd be like, I don't know, George W. Bush teaching something, kind of thing. A couple of years back, Henry Clay was a huge person in Kentucky, and one of the things that I was thinking about when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about tonight is the fact that you yourself have brought up many a times about how big time Kentucky was on, in early American history, in the first 100 years or so of American history, how important that Kentucky was, because now Transylvania University grew into such a hub for education. People came from all over the country to go out to Lexington to go to Transylvania University. So, and we're talking about some very serious wealthy people that sent their children there. So,
wow. This Carrie says, "Hi, Mr. Cable. It's the Calico family. These are former students, and their son is going to Transylvania tomorrow. That is awesome. Congratulations. Hey. That is really cool."
Yeah, as a legacy freshman. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I hope. From Crab Orchard. Woo woo.
So you taught a kid that was smart enough to go to Transylvania University.
Wow. That is awesome, though, I'll. Man, well, we've missed you since they've left Crab Orchard, but that is awesome. That is really awesome. I hope
it really is. Any kid that goes to Transylvania University is going to have a good future for them. So for sure.
Yeah. Well, that is really cool. That's made my night. That's awesome. Anyway, back to Transylvania in 1802, a new president is named, and it is Reverend James Blythe, and he's a Presbyterian. Now, I bring up the Presbyterian because that's going to come in here in a little bit. But the Board of Trustees was very heavily Presbyterian, and that kind of plays into some other stuff. But under Blythe, B-L-Y-T-H-E, Blythe, the school made really not a lot of big gains. It kind of struggled a little bit for like the first 14 years or so, and then things changed. And that's when, Henry Clay, how could I say it? The power of Henry Clay's hand comes into play.
Sure.
He goes, but the liberal, I say this, the liberal board, and by, think of this as 120 years ago, or well, no, 220 years ago. Good thing I didn't teach math, I guess.
Right.
220 years ago, the liberal board pushes for new leadership, and Henry Clay goes out and gets Horace Holly. He's a Unitarian minister. And if you want to look up what a Unitarian minister is, basically for our story now, he's not Presbyterian. He's a Yale grad. He was hired to be the new president. He just brought a different aspect to the university. And they hire Holly, and this pretty much pivots Transylvania into what, I guess, the historical value it becomes. So this is in 1818. Holly and his wife, her name was Mary Austin, they had 2 children. They moved to Lexington. And in a minute, I have a video about a little bit about Holly, more of his life. But he brings in a new building, starts recruiting these prominent teachers. I'm going to say some of these teachers' names, but they probably ring a bell, but you can look them up if you want to. Constantine Rafinescu. Did I get it? Close? Come on, French man.
Yeah. Rafinescu. And somebody that's if somebody is watching that's a Transylvania person, call me up on the phone and tell me how to pronounce it, because he becomes a huge person. That's how I would say it, Rafinescu. My phone number is 859-314-1976. Call me right now. Call me right now and tell me how to pronounce his name, because he's an important guy. Matter of fact, the whole Tacoma mascot is named after him, isn't it? The bat. You got the pioneers.
The bats.
They've got a bat, and his name is Raph.
That's right. Okay, yeah. So some other ones, some other big names: Benjamin Dudley, Daniel Drake, Charles Caldwell, William Short, Jesse Bledsoe. I do know a little bit more about him, and William T. Berry. That's just some names. I don't know anything about a lot of them, but when I'm researching it, these were some big names at the time, and they brought a lot of influence onto Transylvania.
You see that Carl said he knows a guy that donated $8 million to the college. I wonder if you know a guy that will donate $8 million to the Kentucky History podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I know one guy. Yeah, I know. Come on, 8 million, buddy. So they have some of these professors are medical professors as well, and the medical department basically was unmatched during this time. So before this, they didn't much have a medical department. But from 1819 to 1859, it was one of the prestigious medical colleges in the country. They had 4,300 med students, that were sent to Transylvania. The faculty was some of the top faculty as well. They had a medical library.
I think they turned out as many as 8,000 doctors in that time period, kind of thing. So, and that's what's really cool, is because if you wanted to be a doctor, that's where you went to school, wherever you lived all over the country. And this is a place that so many people before tonight have probably never even heard of, Transylvania University.
Yeah.
Prominent location.
Yeah, and they also had these scientific apparatuses, scientific equipment, that was very hard to get. They had a really good history collection of medical science as well. One of their chemistry teachers, Robert Peter, he traveled to London to purchase some equipment. He was quoted saying that after purchasing this equipment, Transy would have one of the most high-tech, modern medical facilities of the time, which is a pretty strong statement when you start thinking about Oxford, maybe. You got Yale and Harvard that are established. Those are the only ones that I kind of think about. Those are big schools at the time. Oxford would be in Europe, of course, but I don't know any others. But to say that they had the best medical facilities in Kentucky during this time is a pretty good pretty strong statement
in the country.
Yeah. Princeton's another one. Carl threw out Princeton. That's another one. But anyway, so this was kind of the golden age of
It's also the time that they were doing a lot of. You can make a little money by exhuming bodies that had recently been buried and sell them to the medical college. There's a few stories
You
about
could.
that.
Yeah.
I've come across some bunch of stories. As a matter of fact, I've got a few videos where we mentioned that guys are digging up bodies. Matter of fact, we did a story about King Solomon.
King Solomon,
drunk.
yeah.
And two medical students tried to sell him. He was so drunk they tried to sell him to Transylvania University Medical Department. You know, and it's he wasn't dead yet. You know, he was just that drunk, but he became quite the hero.
Either way, they didn't have some of the regulations weren't around.
We always bring it back to drunks, don't we? You know, so.
But so this was kind of the golden age of Transylvania, and Horace Holly was right at the front of it. However, his tenure did not last that long as you probably would like. He was basically forced out by the Presbyterian leadership, and we said before the Presbyterian leadership was kind of the trustees. They kind of were the was one of they just were more dominant, the Presbyterians. So on top of that, Joseph Desha, the current governor of Kentucky, was a Presbyterian, and him and the General Assembly kind of withdrew state funds, and Holly basically had his hands tied, and he knew that he could not keep Transylvania up to the standard he had built it with the funding being taken away as it was basically being, and with the leadership kind of against him, the state leadership against him, he resigned in 1825. So he'd been there about 7 years. Kind of did not kind of went down, but we got a video about him. So if we want to watch a quick video about Horace Holly's life in general, we can watch it real quick.
I've got word that we're having technical
difficulty. All right, we will continue then. Go to the YouTube channel, Kentucky History Podcast, or Kentucky History Channel, and you will find the Horace Holly. Actually, if you probably just Googled Horace Holly, Kentucky,
absolutely.
It'll pop up. The video will probably pop up first. There's probably not a lot out there on them. Well, so anyway, we'll keep on going. Horace Holly leaves.
Tim Stamp says Professor Raffinesque.
Raffinesque.
There we go.
That's pretty solid, cool name. Greg says Benjamin Franklin's London house. They found bodies.
They did. Yeah.
Well, we'll move on. So in 1829, Holly leaves, and then in 1829, one of the main buildings actually burns. The academic department barely kind of survives. The medical and law departments continue to thrive, but they kind of have a few setbacks. Transy was revived a little bit when control was given to the Kentucky Conference of the Methodist Church, and that was Reverend Henry Biddleman Boscombe. He was elected president, and he kind of brought in some new teachers. However, that little bit revival was kind of short-lived as well. The Methodist Church split up over slavery, and they severed the ties with the school, and then things get a little rough. Transy kind of declines in the 1850s. The medical school closes in 59, and by this point, like you said, like 8,000 some people had become doctors.
8,000 people became doctors. But isn't it interesting that the Civil War affected this? The growth and success of this university that almost died after this. So many, people. We often think about the soldiers, but what about all the people with businesses? This university and such was affected dramatically with the Civil War. So, and Kentucky, obviously was right down the middle all the time. Yeah. So, but that's what I take from that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much right. Civil War pretty much doesn't shut it down completely, but it shuts down the university to the point that it's basically just a high school. It becomes a hospital for Union soldiers at a time as well.
I gotta find out. I want to know. So I want to know, is there any haunted, rooms in there, kind of thing? Because I know a few schools that are still around that used to be hospitals, and everybody says they're haunted now.
Yeah. Before and to bring it up again, at this time, like when Transylvania, during Transylvania's golden age, I guess if you want to call it that, people sent their kids from all over the country came, and people down south. Transylvania was the place to go. I mean, people would go to that. If you lived in like Georgia or South Carolina, Alabama, those places, your kids, your high society kids went to Transylvania. They didn't go to, Harvard and Princeton and those places. They went to Transylvania. It was considered, I guess, the southern top of the line school, and then there was also people that went from the east that would come as well. But that was kind of how it went. I mean, it was a very prominent school. But anyway, Civil War kind of shuts it down, doesn't help anything, and Transylvania becomes kind of an afterthought for a while. A guy named John Bryan Bowman, and he was from Mercer County. He steps in, kind of saves the day in a way. He had created the Kentucky University. And it was ran by the Disciples of Christ, and it was in Harrodsburg. But guess what happened during the Civil War? It burned down. So his university burned down, and he proposed, hey, how about I bring my university to Transylvania, and we merge? And that's what happens. They merge, and they're actually called the Kentucky University.
And not University of Kentucky, the Kentucky University.
Yep.
Let's be clear. We're talking about two different places.
Two different places. And while they're at the Kentucky University, they also start the College of the Bible, and this would later become the Lexington Theological Seminary. I got it. Seminary. Then, and this is another big important thing. Then comes in the state places the agriculture and mechanical college there, and that is under the management of the Kentucky University. All right, and if you know a little bit about history, you might know where this one ends.
I've heard of the Kentucky A&M.
Yeah, Kentucky. Yeah,
I think they still exist.
They do. If you can make a guess, what is the Kentucky A&M? But anyway, Bowman resigns in 1878. The Bible College moves out from underneath the wings of Kentucky University, and then the Kentucky A&M moves to the south of Lexington.
And that's crazy here in south of Lexington.
Yeah. 3 streets down, maybe.
Yeah, because that's not south of Lexington today. It's right smack dab in the middle of Lexington.
Yeah. So nobody's commented on what it could be. No guesses.
What is the Kentucky A&M University?
Kentucky A&M in 1889.
Yes.
The Kentucky University become co-ed. They begin athletics. Fraternities and sororities are added to the campus, and they become the University of Kentucky. So there you have it. CATS, cats.
Right.
Oh, Sue was so close. We just saw Sue's comment. Maybe she got it.
Yeah.
University of
Sue likes Kentucky. Sue likes UK.
Yeah. Who doesn't? I mean, come on. What are you talking about? So in 1908, the school changes.
Louisville fans and Tennessee fans do not like it. You said who doesn't.
Yeah. So in 1908, though, the Kentucky University takes back the name of Transylvania University.
Kentucky University was itself University of Kentucky comes from it. Kentucky University changes its name back to Transylvania University. Just so you got that straight.
Yeah. So for the next 40 years, though, we're going up and down again for Transy. Financial issues. It almost closes. just not good. It just doesn't go well. However, and this will be a little redundant, but I'll just kind of go through this quickly. Frank Rose becomes the president in 1952, and he basically saves the college. He cleans up the financials. He builds a new library and gym. I don't know. I would think that those might even still be standing today. I don't know how outdated Transylvania's gym is. I've never been in it. I've been around it, but
they got a nice one.
Yeah. So so maybe they've rebuilt a new gym since then. But Irvin Lunger, he was Rose's predecessor. He makes some significant improvements, and the college once again grows to its previous prominence to an extent. I mean, obviously, not everybody in the country knows where Transylvania is. But from 1957 to 1976, he's the longest president Transylvania ever has, or has had even. So a few more presidents come in, William Kelly, David Brown, and then Charles Shearer. The university grew and saw a large increase in enrollment under him, improvement of facilities, staff, and financial stability. There you go. That's where it is now, man. Transylvania is here to stay.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very important spot in history, but man, there's so many. We mentioned this in the beginning about all these people that went there, how important that it was. And we put in the tagline there at the beginning, the announcing this show, 2 vice presidents attended, 2 Supreme Court justices, 50 senators, 101 United States House of Representatives, 36 governors, 30 U.S. ambassadors.
That's a lot.
And 1 Confederate president.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, who are all these people, kind of thing? Do you know who? Breckinridge.
Yep. Talking about John Breckinridge.
Yeah.
Yep. He was there.
He's the vice president of the United States.
Yeah.
Under James Buchanan, and it's interesting. He was the vice president in 57 to 61, and Civil War happened. 61. He was a senator at the time. He becomes the Secretary of War for the Confederacy. He's a Transylvania grad. And then Richard Mentor Johnson, who was Martin Van Buren's vice president. Do you know what Richard Mentor Johnson's most known for? You and I think it's crap, but he's one of the 2 people that is said to have. I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes, and I don't know where.
The other one was William Whitley. He was one of the 2 people that was said to have killed.
Oh, Tecumseh. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, one of the 2 people that said he killed Tecumseh was a Transylvania grad. So you can see the type of people that are going there. Matthew Harris Jewett. We were just talking about him and his father.
Yeah.
Captain Jack Jewett.
Jack Jewett.
What he said. He could only educate. He had enough money to educate one of his sons.
One kid. That's right.
Sent him off to college, and he said he became a damn sign painter, So, he's the famous portrait painter. He painted George Rogers Clark, Marquis de Lafayette, and all these other folks. Thomas Jefferson, that he painted. Stephen F. Austin, the founder of Texas, went to Transylvania. He didn't graduate, but he went there for a little while, and that's pretty cool. Jefferson Davis.
Yep.
Jefferson Davis, he didn't graduate from Transylvania either, but he went there until he transferred over to West Point. And became a military. If you don't know who Jefferson Davis, and I'm not talking about Jefferson Davis Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard. I'm talking about the president of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis. Alex said GRC. Yeah, GRC is the man. And Charles Moorhead, you've done some stories about him.
Yeah. Well, in a way, Transylvania kind of becomes I don't want to say like political hub, but inroads, connections. Henry Clay taught there. Henry Clay, had a big hand in creating Transylvania to the prominence it was, especially in the early days. So those connections, it's leaving me because there's quite a few, governors and senators. I mean, there's so many that came and kind of had that connection to Transylvania and those inroads, sororities, fraternities, all that stuff. Not to that extent at that point, but that's kind of how it goes.
Blaine says, don't forget about the Matthew Harris Jewett exhibit in the Hopewell Museum there in Paris, Kentucky through September the 5th. Need to go there and check that out myself, Blaine. Maybe you can be a tour guide for me. Do you know that Paris used to be called Hopewell? Paris, Kentucky.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, because Maysville was limestone, and it was a huge port. People would go to Lexington, and the stage could make it to about Paris in a day, and it was hope we'll get there. Hope we'll get there before sunset. Then it became Hopewell. So totally getting off subject there, but one of those Jeopardy questions. James Speed, Lincoln's Attorney General, went to school there.
That's right.
Cassius
Speed family, man.
Cassius Marcellus Clay. Cassius Clay, the boxer, right? Muhammad Ali.
No. The Lion of Whitehall.
Right, totally different guy. But he said the name changed in 1786 from Hopewell to Paris. Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Absolutely. Cool. Blaine will be proud of me for knowing that. But Happy Chandler, Happy Chandler, the baseball player.
And governor as well, right?
Yeah, he became. How about Ned Beatty? Do you know who Ned Beatty is?
Oh,
he's in your favorite group.
Is that a Deliverance?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a Transylvania grad. Isn't that wild? But, we'll move right along out of him. So, but George Shannon. This is a cool story that we could do another video on. George Shannon was the youngest member of the Corps of Discovery, the Lewis and Clark expedition. Yeah. After he had this massive journey, he ventures over to Transylvania University and becomes a lawyer. It's pretty cool. And there's a few things that are named after him there on Transy's campus. Henry Clay, as we said earlier, was a professor there, but also C.M. Newton was a professor and a basketball coach at Transy for a long time. You ever heard of C.M. Newton?
I have, but that's about all I know. I've heard of
C.M. Newton Field there in Kentucky. Yeah, same guy.
Yeah, okay.
But, so many things. And then, of course, Constantine Samuel. How did he say his name again?
Rafisik.
Yeah. He was there. He's a famous botanist. He's buried on campus. He's got a shrine there, and like I said, they named the bat after him too. So, and we can go on and on and on and on. One little side note on as far as sports goes: Transylvania University won the very first football game ever played in the state of Kentucky, defeating the Praying Colonels from Center College, and they won 13 3/4-0.
3/4? They only gave 3/4 of a point.
13 3/4. But pretty neat little stat right there because Transy is not beating any large. They might be. Well, they don't have a football team.
Yeah, they don't have a football team. Yeah. But Matt Jones, he went to Transy. He's a current person.
He's your buddy, isn't he?
I mean, I've never talked to him before. I mean, I don't know. It seems all right, I guess. But Transy. I mean, and over the past little bit, I mean, it's very last 50-some years. It's maybe even 60 years. It's really came back up, and it goes to show you just how the historical times can affect something that, at one time Transy was this happening place. Civil War comes in and just wrecks the show, and it takes it 60 years to recuperate, and then things happen. But
it's really neat that it's still there because there's tons and tons of schools that were founded over the years that don't exist,
don't last.
Especially small colleges have a hard time continuing to exist, and a lot of them they're hubs for athletics so that they can even keep the doors open. But Transy is one of those that people really try to get into because it's a very prestigious school to have a degree from. So
Yep. Well, that's all I got, man.
now we know it's history, right?
Go Bats or Pioneers.
Pioneers, yeah.
Bats.
So the Pioneers are the mascots of Bats. So yeah.
They should have probably just went with Bats. I think it'd be cool. But I mean, I get it. Pioneers. It's the Transylvania Company. Pioneers. I get that. I get it. But
there he goes, the Raffinesque.
I forgot the end.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that. Thanks, and go Pioneers.
There you go. Yeah, I'm a Pioneers fan now for the Calicos.
Absolutely. So, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Check out the podcast. Check out the YouTube channel.
Who we got next week? I think we have.
Isn't it Cassius Clay coming up soon?
It finally is.
Yeah. Get ready. Hold on to you.
Crazy guy, man. Crazy. Looking forward to that. Not the boxer.
Not the boxer. Different one.
Boxer. Different Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
So good deal. Well, I'm ready to sign off. Are you?
I'm good. Thanks everybody for listening and comments, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, guys. And hey, remember, Family Tree Nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
At Family Tree Nuts, we make professional, historic videos all over the country and currently have videos in 25 states and even a few international. Let's face it, nobody wants to read anymore. As a matter of fact, nobody wants to even watch long videos, which is why I'm going to keep this real quick. Moving into the future, how are we going to educate the public on all the historic treasures that are found in every community? We have found the answer. Short, entertaining, and to-the-point videos with lots of shots and views that are relevant to the subject. These videos are shared on social media and are the fastest and least expensive way to educate the community on the history of your area. We have experience working with historical organizations as well as city or county tourism departments and Chamber of Commerce's to produce these videos for their use. Our clients are provided with copies of any video produced as well as online links to the videos that they can easily add to their websites. Let us document and produce videos of just a few or all the historic sites in your area. You will find our rates extremely affordable and well below the industry standard for media production. We are passionate about preserving and documenting as many historical sites as we can, and we would love to work with you. For more information, contact me directly at russ@familytreenuts.org or my personal phone at 859-314-1976. And remember, Family Tree Nuts, let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
John Edmondson was born February 21st, 1764, in Washington County, Virginia. His parents were William and Nancy Edmondson. He fought in the Revolutionary War, most notably in the Battle of Kings Mountain. After the war, he was a clerk in Abingdon, Virginia. Edmondson married Margaret Robinson Montgomery, and they had 3 children. He came to Kentucky in 1790 after buying land in Fayette County. The War of 1812 began, and Edmondson formed a company of riflemen. He joined John Allen's 1st Rifle Regiment. He was chosen to be the captain of the company, but resigned and rejoined the company as a private. During the Battle of River Raisin, Edmondson was killed. He was buried on his property in Fayette County. I hope you've enjoyed learning about John Edmondson. He was a soldier in many battles and died a soldier's death. He established his family in Kentucky and fought to defend the Commonwealth. 9 counties are named after fallen soldiers during the Battle of River Raisin. Edmondson County, the 79th county in Kentucky, was named after John Edmondson. Don't forget to try out audibletrial.com/kyhistorypod to get a free book of your choosing. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification button for more Kentucky history content. If you'd like to support the channel, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/kyhistorypod. Find us on these social media platforms and check out the Kentucky History Podcast on these podcast platforms for more in-depth history of Kentucky. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.